Hello and good evening and welcome to Awakenware. It is 8:30 Sunday, December 27th. I'm here with my good friend Damian Barnes, and we're discussing how to attract and how to align with the right people in your life. So thanks for joining us, and I'm gonna roll this intro and we'll be right back. I'm up. Again, thanks for joining us. I am Nick Angel, and this is my friend Damian Barnes, who's joining us. He is a mentor, a coach to many people, and a musician, and also in the wellness space. And I've asked him to come join us and share his story. And he's a high flying individual because he does travel quite a bit. But he's also a very successful person and a mentor and a friend that I look up to. And I thought him sharing his story, and also he has some knowledge and space in the relationship space and helping using manifestation and attraction and alignment to manifest the right type of people in your life. And he's a super networker. So we'll put his information up in the YouTube so you'll be able to connect with him. And this is the Awakenware show. So I'm super glad that you guys have joined us. Damian, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be here.
Good. I'm glad you're here. Where you just flew in from recently?
Yeah, so I was out in Boston for a week.
Beantown Tea Party.
Yeah, it was cold.
Oh yeah. Do they still root for Tom Brady out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, right on. Because I hear he just broke some records today.
Yeah.
Not that I'm watching football or anything, but just in a quick scroll, I saw that.
Yeah, I don't watch either.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. I haven't watched football in a long time, so I just have better things to do with my. I enjoy football. Yes. I even like playing football, and I have a football in the trunk of my car that I tend to just take out and throw around from time to time, but I don't have the time anymore to watch football.
So I'm not a betting man, so it really doesn't matter who wins.
True. I mean, so I know there's some people probably watching that are like, yo, but what about the Eagles? That's local to your hometown.
Yeah.
So Damian and I have known each other for less than a year, but we have so many friends in the same circle that it was like destined that we meet. And people were like, yo, you two got to meet each other because you're both personalities and you both enjoy telling dad jokes and being humorous. We like to keep people entertained. Absolutely. So when somebody introduced me to him, he was like, yo, this is the guy that I was telling you about. He was like, yeah, I've been hearing about you too. And I think he told me a joke right off the bat. Like I thought and he had me gut busting. So I was like, yeah, this is a guy that definitely, I'm glad to have in my life. And I'm glad he's going to be here to share with us. So this is our 8th episode, and we've been going since 11/11 in November, and it's been a fun time. And the show has evolved and changed. I've had people call in and Skype in, and I've had a couple people who've been able to sit here with me in the studio, I'm super grateful that the community has grown. You guys have helped me. We've got 500 likes on the Awakenware page. I've got almost 300 people in the Awakenware group community. I'm super glad of the support. I've had people buying T-shirts and coffee, and I'm appreciative of all the sales. I just want to throw this out to you because it's coming from you guys, and I really appreciate the support of the community. And I want you guys to remember, like, even though this is it is a business. this very much is a community, and it's about consciousness. Like I don't just sell stuff under the Awakenware brand. Like you guys are Awakenware, and like this is our stuff. Like this is the kind of thing that supports our community. And I like to use some of the proceeds to give back to people, give away shirts, and give away different things that we have in our store and some of the merch that we have. So tonight when we do take a caller, guess what? Our first caller is going to get one of these Awakenware Matrix shirts. And so all you gotta do is be the first caller when I put up the number and get you one of these shirts. Looks like Artemis said, "Good evening, gents. My brother Art, what's going on, man? We're glad you're here."
What's up, Art?
Right on. So that's a mutual friend of both of ours.
Good guy.
Glad you're here. Absolutely, he's a great guy. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of spending some time with him, dining with him, picking his brain, and it's probably somebody that might be wind up sitting in this seat right here one day, too. So look forward to any questions that you guys have. Remember that you guys can put your questions into the comment box. We can see them live on the show. We can interact and bring them in. So we're super glad that you guys are here. So Damian, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, tell the people what it is that you're doing and what you're passionate about.
Okay. So right now what I'm doing is, for work is I'm working for a tech company, and we install smart home technology, like, keyless entry, the thermostats, light switches, things like that. We're doing like multifamily homes. So we're doing like entire apartment complexes. The cool thing about that is that like I get to travel for work, and not only do I get to travel, but most times I'm on location for about 30 days, so I get to explore a little bit while I'm out. You had mentioned that I network. The last time I was in Houston, I met a group of people I'm still in contact with, and it's just kind of just as things go, I don't know. I just keep falling into these wonderful experiences.
Wow. So you keep meeting people that are helping you vibe and thrive and nurture you wherever you're going, right?
Wherever I go.
So it sounds like that you're in some type of alignment or some type of vortex that is attracting these people to you in these types of experiences, right?
Yeah. So it's really like this is what the topic was, but it's about my openness to these things, to these experiences, because I've noticed when opportunity was right there. It was like, hey, this is the way to go to meet some new people, and I'm like, just like, I don't feel like it. I just don't, and so, but yeah, so like everywhere I go, like I try to make some kind of connection with somebody, and it's relatively easy. It just happens. So that's kind of cool.
So you're not really attracting any of the bad relationships that we all have once, like not just once, I'm pretty sure all of us have spent years and years cultivating some of the wrong relationships in our lives, right?
Well, yeah. So the word you said was cultivating, and that's the difference. Not cultivating those types of experiences, because like they come, they go. They come, they go.
So you're willing to let them go, though?
Let them go.
So an analogy that Damon and I had mulled over while having breakfast the other day, and I'm going to give a shout out to Jack's Donuts in New Jersey, because the place was banging. Everybody was super, super friendly. The customers, the people, like everybody was, oh, it's your first time here. Let us make it really special for you. They even gave me free donuts. So I'm going to give them a shout out. Jack's Donuts is lit. If you're in the South Jersey area, I highly recommend that you check them out. But while we were having breakfast, the analogy came up that we were talking about a lamp attracting moths versus butterflies. Both are attracted to light. And so when we're putting out light, you can get them. And listen, I have nothing against moths. Moths are very, very beautiful. Some of them are, I think there's more beautiful moths than there are butterflies. But the issue is you may be a butterfly person and attracting moths to yourself. And what happens is most people still entertain the moths when they show up. Give you an example. I hear a lot of times in this spiritual space and in this community, we have healers that are constantly saying, how come I'm attracting narcissists? How come I'm attracting people who haven't done any healing or trauma healing in their life, but you're a healer? Well, you're attracting people that are attracted to healing. And the issue is, if you want to attract other healers, you have to stop attracting the sick or accepting the sick. And if a doctor in med school, they're looking at, but they're interacting with other doctors. Their life is their patients, but what they're attracting is other doctors in their life. They're not bringing patients home with them. They're bringing other people who are in the industry with them home. And that's kind of the idea that you have to accept in your reality, is that if you want to have the right people, you may be attracting some of the wrong people because of the same light that you're putting out. So that's one example that I really thought came to mind, especially with what you were just mentioning, was the moth butterfly analogy that we were talking about the other day.
Yeah. So when we were talking about that, it was, it's nice to be able to show up for people and help out. And like, it's in my heart to do so. But then as being, like partnered up with somebody or, moving forward in my journey, like, they can't make the journey.
Exactly. Sometimes people are meant to be right there at the time that they were.
Yeah.
I think somebody said to me years ago, I was dating a girl in college. She's not on my Facebook page, so I'm sure she's not going to hear what I say about her. Actually, what I'm going to say about myself. It's not that she did anything wrong, but I knew that she hadn't graduated high school. She wasn't going to go to college. She didn't have any intention of doing any of those things. She was a fitness model and a dental hygienist, and she had no plans on changing any of that in her lifetime. She didn't plan on having kids, and we were great together. She was a Libra, I'm a Libra, but I knew that as I moved on in my career, that she may not be, we may not click later on in life. I'm going to want to do other things that she's not interested in. And I was kind of sad about that because I felt loyal to her. We've been together for a couple of years, and I consulted the matriarch of my family. And I asked her, I said, Grandma, what do you think about this? Do you think I'm just using this person for the time being for companionship? And she said, no, absolutely not. She said, this person is there for you clearly right now and is there for you in this time in life. And you're there for her. And that give it your all for the time being. But if it comes apart, then that's the way it was supposed to be. And you'll move on to something else. And we mutually split, and it never turned into a bad thing. And it just happened. We just kind of fell apart naturally. It happened organically. We're still friends. We don't talk at all anymore, but we're still friendly. And I've moved on with my life, So I kind of feel like sometimes there are relationships that are for now. I have a best friend who's out there who is on my Facebook page, and I hope one day he does hear this. That we haven't really talked in 10 years. He's really upset that I didn't come to his wedding. I wasn't capable of it when it happened. But he's still my best friend. He still calls me his best friend, even though we really have maybe had 2 or 3 conversations in 10 years. But we spent 10 years really cultivating a relationship. Now that's not the right relationship for this time, for this space. So the reason this topic came up is Damian and I were sitting here talking about, we were talking about our contacts and networking and growing relationships in multiple levels. Like we were talking about we're both single guys. And we were both talking about romantic relationships. We were talking about companionship. We were talking about friendships. We were talking about business connections. Like our whole discussion I want to say we talked for a good 8 hours. Somewhere in that realm. It was pretty close to it.
Yeah, it was a whole day.
Yeah, it was a whole day, and it was all about relationships.
Yeah.
And we realized what we were doing and what we were doing wrong. And, the thing is even though something's right or the right way to do it, that doesn't mean you're executing it every day in your life. Like, I know how to attract just about anything into my life, but putting in the effort, the time, and the repetition and the diligence to make anything that I want to come into my reality, sometimes I'm drawn from other things, or better yet, I still have some of those wrong relationships in my life that distract me from the places that I want to go and the things that I want to do. And, so sometimes that is what happens, but guess what? I'm here to tell you I'm here to show you or explain to you some of the tools that I have been able to attract $1 million and billion. Like, I've actually met a couple billionaires in my life. Now I can't say that that I'm best friends with them. But I have 3 different billionaires' email addresses. So I could reach out to them. I have a few millionaire friends that are investors that I've met, but these were people that I attracted to myself in times that I needed to find them as investors. And I use these attraction methods to bring them into my life and to meet them. Like Damian was talking about, like how he gets on the road and he finds the right people, the matching people to what it is that he's that's in his club and that's in his sphere, and attracts them. Doesn't matter where he's going, he bumps into them. And I'm gonna tell you what those secrets are. Like, there's no gate to this. I don't need your email address. I don't need your to anything from you. No paychecks, no accolades, no nothing. You might even know some of this stuff, but I've never realized that, man, if I just put it in this way, you can start attracting exactly like the type of relationships that help you thrive, the type of relationships that want to invest in you, in your business, in your joy centers. So Holly Rose, she says, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That is absolutely right. But also, Holly, is sometimes as we're so this isn't just the people that come into your life. This is attracting and lining to the type of people that you want to come into your life. Like, you do have a steering wheel, per se, when it comes to life. You can kind of guide the directions that you want to go in. Like, if I want to be a lifeguard, I don't think going out and finding people who are drowning is the way to learn how to become a lifeguard. I think the way you become a lifeguard is by attracting yourself to people who are experienced in the lifeguard community. And that's what we're talking about is shifting, because listen, for years, I was attracting people who are drowning, and I was constantly having to save them. And I spent years of my late 20s into my mid 30s saving people, and it wasn't just girlfriends, it was all different kinds of people.
So can we
please
take a moment to just step it back, take it back one step, because
what you got?
So I'm looking at like the awareness, right? This is where meditation comes in and helps out. Building the awareness that this is what I'm doing. I'm actually attracting, like I'm putting this out there. What am I putting out there, and why am I putting it out there to attract such, needy people? And a lot of it, you talked earlier about like people that are that have done some trauma work, to work on some of that trauma, and a lot of times it's our own trauma. And trying to kind of fix that somehow, some way, through other means besides like actually looking inward. We end up putting that outward, and we attract what it is that we're trying to fix.
Well, that's also, but those people are still the right people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But
to a certain extent,
the awareness that's right. What's happening, so that like we don't miscategorize who these people are. Right? Because they show up and it's like, yes, I'm here to help and like maybe learn something about myself in this, and then let you go. Or we say, I'm here to help and I want to hold on to you and, share this space with you instead of taking my own path. I was trying to help you get back on your path, but now I'm not on my path either. Somehow.
Some way. Well, so anything with gravity and momentum and comes in close proximity to something else with gravity, changes trajectory. And that's law of, that's a law of nature.
Sure.
So people have gravity, and when we come into people's lives, they tend to pull us in a different direction. All of a sudden we have a new trajectory. And I've given this analogy before, is the airplane is never on course. It takes off and it's blowing around in the wind, and it constantly has to readjust where it's going to get to its destination. And that's kind of what we need to do when we come into new relationships. So defining what is right or wrong, because in the spiritual world, there is no right or wrong. It's just, how is this serving me, and what's the frequency, vibration, and how does this make me feel, and for any length of period of time, because some things can make you feel negative, but then given a little bit of work or acceptance, you can change your own feelings about it. A lot of times, that's what I'm talking about or not a lot of times. What I'm talking about is a lot of times we are accepting behaviors. We're accepting what's not taking us towards, is never going to take us on the trajectory. Like it may have been the right thing for the right time, but it's not there serving us who we are now. Mainly what I'm talking about is when we wake up, the people that were surrounding us before we wake up may not be there to continue on, and often are not, and are not nurturing us after we come into a conscious state, or even better yet, not just nurturing us. They are not in our homeostasis anymore. They're actually detrimental to us. They vex us. They vex our spirit.
Right.
They may be very self-centered. They may be narcissistic, and these things can do damage to you. And these are the type of people that we don't want to attract into our life anymore. It's not that if you're a healer that you don't want to have sick people, but you want to take that on your terms versus being your partner, or that being your business partner,
being taken hostage by that.
Right.
So I've had here's a story. There was a young lady that I met, and
like stories.
And so I was in a spot where I was just finally getting myself together, and after a long run of not doing the right thing, and so she comes along and she's trying to get herself together, and she was a mess, right? And I helped her out. She helped me out, but I helped her out, and I wanted to hold on to her, right, and keep her with me by my side and all this stuff. And it like the universe would not allow this. You know what I mean? Like it became detrimental to my own health and well-being to be around this person. And like just things happened. She ended up over here. I'm over there. Years later, she found herself on a good path, like doing well, very well for herself. And we came back together, and like, we're like really good friends now, so sometimes, it's just like, I can't walk the path that you're walking. I can't do it, because I have to do my own. But then somehow, some way, we made our way back and met each other in a better space, which, I love
so
that.
you're basically your relationship. So let me just define something. Let me define relationship in a general sense. Not this may not fit everybody's mold, but we're in relationship with everything. Here's my phone. My relationship is my phone is that far away. That's a relationship. A relationship can be proximity. Like, our relationship can be as simple as he's 3 feet over there away from me, and we're 6 feet from here to here. Just throwing it out there. We're not, but almost. Yeah, now we are. So if the inspector comes in, I want you to lean over like this. So a relationship can be anything and can change how we define it via agreement. when it comes into, like I'm in agreement that we're in a relationship, or it's an agreement that we're friends, and that becomes the definition of our relationship. And so you had a definition that you guys were intimate and stayed together, lived together, et cetera, et cetera. And those were the things that were kind of pain points for you guys, that you were at stages that were no longer serving you guys. So you guys had to step back and redefine what that was through agreement. And now you guys are still in a relationship, but the terms are completely different.
Completely different. Yeah.
And that's now what's serving you.
Right.
And so that's a right relationship for the boundary circle that it is in, where you guys are no longer, I'm just guessing, are in intimate space quite often. And you guys have better boundaries.
Different boundaries.
Different boundaries. There you go. Sure. Well, they're now serving you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess they are better.
Okay. It's all right. Different can be better. Better can
honestly,
be different.
They were serving me before.
Understood.
Right.
Understood. But where they were good with you then too, were you able to stay on your own trajectory?
Well, so there was a point where the trajectory was not even, that wasn't even a word. So
you were head spun.
Yeah, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said before, the awareness, I'm still stuck in this spot. Why am I putting in so much effort and not getting anywhere? And then it was like, okay, let me take a look at everything that's going on around me. And one of the things was that relationship. There were some other things, some other relationships that had me just kind of stuck. And, I just was not okay with where I was at. So I'm like, I have to move forward, no matter what. So, if that means that I have to leave some people behind, then so be it, because I'm moving forward. For sure. So let's define what a right person is, like what attracting or aligning with the right person is in our lives. Because we all have relationships that were good at some point in time. Some of you guys are married and this is my soulmate, and I don't care what you say, this is the right person all the time for everything. And that's an agreement that you've come to and agree upon, and therefore it is for you. And I'm sure, and that's now your trajectory. Your trajectory is now aligned with another gravity that gives you that wobble, that pulls, and that creates your reality for you, and blessings to that. But what we're talking about, so this doesn't necessarily have to be a intimate or a close personal relationship. This can be friendships, business. These tools and tactics that we're talking about can help you in business. This can help you attract or align your work wife or your work husband. That just makes your day so much better that you can get through, so you can be that Jim and Pam from the office. And this is also, like I mentioned before, I have attracted investors. Let me tell you a quick story. Back up for a minute. I had, when vaping first came out, I was still a cigarette smoker and vaping. I was both vaping and cigarette smoking at the same time. Smoked cigarettes outdoors and vaped indoors. I wanted to get into that space. So I created a company called Natural Essence, or eSense, ESCENTS. And I was looking for investors to get into this. And I was going to do vaping that was not nicotine or tobacco based. There's a guy in Harvard that beat me to it, and that's why I got out of the space. But while I was looking for investors, I stopped in my car and I said, look, I need somebody to invest in this. I don't have enough money and resources to get this off the ground and need to prototype this. How do I get this out to people and find money? And so I put up a prayer. I literally said, I need to find somebody. I need an angel investor. Now, you guys might think this is a little bit hokey, but I said, you guys know my name is Angel. And I said, I need an angel investor. And I drove home, and I was I drove home from school, parked in front of my house, and was about to go inside, and something said, go get a sandwich. I was not hungry. There was a 7-Eleven down the street. I turned around, went to 7-Eleven, bought a sandwich, and across the street was the first time seeing a Tesla automobile. It's my very first time seeing a Tesla S, and I was like, yo, what is that? I didn't even know what it was.
I had to turn around and go see what the thing was. So I drove across the street, pulled up next to this Tesla, and I was like, yo, damn, this thing is bad. And I looked in the window and I was like, yo, they had this giant iPad in it. I was like, this is nothing I've ever seen. And I was like, who drives this? And it was it was a Sunday afternoon. It was an empty business park. And I remember saying, I got to find whoever owns this car. Like, I just want to meet them because this thing is badass. And it was an old guy and an old woman sitting on a bench. They both had a book in their hand and they were charging the car. So I didn't even know it was an electric car at that point in time. And I just walked over to him. I said, is that your car? And of course, they were a little apprehensive looking at me. They were like, who's this guy just coming out of nowhere, wants to know if that's our luxury car. And they said, yeah. And so I just started talking to them. And they lived in Marcos Island. They were over in Fort Lauderdale. And they had driven across the state, and they needed to charge it to get back home. And so I had their ear for a good 45 minutes, but we were chit-chatting back and forth. And I asked the guy, so what do you do? Like, I really wanted to know how he got this car, why he was driving this which looked like a supercar at that point in time. And he said, yeah, he says, I've been in business for about 30 years now. I'm just an investor. I invest in mechanical businesses. And I was like, I'm not in that space, but I was thinking, boy, that would be nice. And then he said, but my wife over here, she invests in businesses and her name is Angel. can't make this stuff up. And so I literally pray. You can't it was a slap. It was a pat on the back. It was a nod from the universe. I got exactly what I asked for, was an investor who invested in small businesses, and that's what his wife did. They both do it, but she's the one that handles the small business stuff as an investor. And, I still have her card today. And of course, it's called Angel Investments was the name of their investors, and her name was Angel. I can't make this stuff up. Like, that's the kind of reality of this type of I got clear about what I needed, what I would do for other people, what I would do with other people's money, and used a special process that I'm going to outline here just in a few minutes, that brought me exactly what I wanted, exactly the type of people that I needed. And then the next day, I had a brother from my lodge call me up and was like, yo, I heard you're in this space. Can I give you some money and get in it with it too? And I just kept getting investor after investor showing up because I had put this frequency out into the universe, and it just started showing up. And I'm going to share that with you guys in just a minute. So if you guys have any questions, anything that you want to talk about, I noticed that Casey, thanks for joining us. I want to throw a shout out real quick because I met Casey early, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, and I hope it's Casey and not Cassie. But either way, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. And you mentioned narcissist earlier. We were talking about narcissists and how healers attract narcissists. But I met Casey earlier today on an app called Clubhouse. If you guys aren't on Clubhouse or haven't heard about Clubhouse, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you get on Clubhouse. It's invite only right now, but reach out to your friends, throw it up on Facebook. Like, yo, anybody got an invite? Get on this. It's also, I got to warn you guys, it's also only on iPhone at the moment too. I'm trying to convince my man to get him an iPhone just so he can, it's worth it. This is the best networking app I have ever met. It's going to give Facebook a run for its money. But I promise you in the next 3 months, you're going to see a bunch of new millionaires popping up from this app. It's amazing. It's the best networking tool I've ever seen in my life. Listen, I was in a room last night with Swiss Beats, D Nice, Terry Crews, all in the same room. And we're all in a discussion about COVID and what the year was like. There are do you think I normally get in a room in a discussion with these kind of people every day? I know Oprah's on the app. There are Gail King. Gail King was in the room. So that was my first day on the app. I was in a room with D Nice, Gail King, Terry Crews, and I mentioned somebody else, but there were so many other people that have been on this app and blown it up in the last 3 months. So again, it's called Clubhouse. Highly recommend that you get on it. It is invite only at the moment, and they may not move past being invite once they do launch it in the next 3 months, but that's okay. Trust me, they can get the whole world on the app. You'll eventually get in. They also have a wait list. So the best way is to get an invite, download the app, jump on it from the link. If you download the app first, you will get put into a wait list, and not saying that you can't get in, but if you get an invite while you're on the wait list, it'll jump you into the app. But it is absolutely amazing. There are conscious people, there are businesses, entrepreneurs, artists, people in the industry, tech people, investors. It is the creme de la creme of people that are just about it. And newcomers. There are people who are budding entrepreneurs, budding actors, budding actresses, models, et cetera, that are finding links to getting into the industry. And I highly recommend that you get on it. I got jumped in last night, and I don't know why I used the term jumped in, but I got invited last night. And then I woke up at 4 a.m. and said, oh, I got to get on Clubhouse. And then I jumped right in Clubhouse and got invites to all these different rooms. And I've been on it all day long. So I highly recommend it. And guess what? There's going to be an Awakenware Clubhouse. There's going to be an Awakenware room. We'll be able to bring this show into the Clubhouse app in the future as well. So look for it on there. And I also want to put my stuff out there, because I am Nick Angel at Nick Angel on Clubhouse. So definitely tap me in. If you're on it, find me out there, tap me in. We'll connect and link up. So, got to get you if you don't have an iPhone, listen, get you an iPad, something that gets you into the Apple Store, because they are not on Google at the moment. But I'm telling you that there's no place in the world that you can connect with bankers. I talked to a guy who was making millions of dollars on Forex for people and showing people how to do it. Like, I don't know anywhere else where I can just jump on something, learn cryptocurrency, have somebody explain it to me, and have a whole group of experts tell me how to do it. The people that are actually, like at the forefront, being the ones to tell me how to do it, explain it, walk me through step by step for free. There's no other place for anything like that, or to find your mentor in your group. People are using it for marketing, networking. So I had to just take the time to push this thing, because it's going to change the world. It's disrupting the world right now, and in the next 3 months, I'm telling you, this thing is going to disrupt social media like you've never seen, because there's nothing like it. There's nothing in its space. Facebook doesn't do what it does. Twitter doesn't do what it does. You're probably going to see all those platforms change to try to adopt, to add features that are like this. But I don't think that the way this works is absolutely nothing like anything else out right now. And I promise you, if you just find a way to get on it, this is going to change your life. America, the world is going to see more millionaires in 3 months from this app than you've ever seen before. It's that powerful. It's really making today alone, I saw so many people making the right connections. So do whatever you got to do to find your way to get into Clubhouse. It's the thing. It is absolutely, it's going to be it's all everybody's going to be talking about in 2021. If you don't hear me right now, I promise you there's nothing on the forefront except for vaccines for coronavirus and what Joe Biden is doing in office. That's what everybody's gonna be talking about in the news. But all of us in the conscious space, all of us in the entrepreneurship space, all of us in the success and mindfulness space and the self-mastery space are all going to be on Clubhouse. So do whatever you can to get there. So thanks for giving me that time to blow up Clubhouse. The Clubhouse app, it is in the App Store. You can download it, and you can just hurry up and get on their wait list so you can get in super quickly. Also hit me up and stay dialed in. And also Cassie, she might have an invite. You might blow her up and ask her if she's got an invite, if you know her. But if you reach out to me, I'll have some more invites soon. I used up all my invites today, but you get more by interacting in the community on the Clubhouse app. So I will make sure everybody who wants to get on it gets on it. Also, I want to throw out there that it's hugely supporting the Black community right now and Black entrepreneurs. Like they have flocked to it. They have become early adopters of it. They have made this space their own. So people of color, like it's serving us. It's serving that niche, that level of community. Like you got to take note of something that allows you to connect and grow every aspect of your life and give you the processes and the tools. That's why I'm taking the time, the space, and you hear it coming through so fervently. In addition, I've made friends on it today. I've made business partners on it today. I've talked to investors. Like if that's not the most relationship tool that I've ever found, and it's also grown the Instagram page. I've got people on the show here today. It's helped support my business. I mean, what more could I ask for in 24 hours? Nothing. So I just had to make sure that you guys felt the love and knew what this is and how this community can help your processes, your businesses, and can work that way. So Damian, if you can just take the show for just a second, I'm gonna walk over here. I've made the same faux pas that I once have. I have not plugged in my computer, and I don't want the show to go down.
Yeah, you probably should have done that. It's all right. All right, so you just threw it at me. Okay. Yeah, it's what we've been talking about. So that's what we've been doing. It's relationships. So anyway, I've had so many different opportunities. You were talking about the story with the Tesla and all that, and like manifesting these things that come into your life. And I was saying earlier how like I'm working for this tech company. Like I don't come from that. That's not where I'm from. Like it just kind of found me. I found it, and like I was out of work. I was working as a drug and alcohol counselor. I was in that field for like 15 years.
What a space.
And yeah. My favorite was like working with people with dual diagnosis.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. It's so much fun. There's so many good things. There's so much going on there.
All the opportunities.
There's a lot. So, I lost a job, but I was able to collect unemployment. And while I was on unemployment, I went to work for a friend who was a contractor. While working for this guy, he gets a contract for this company that I'm working for now. Like we did really well. Like this company was just a little startup. There wasn't a whole lot going on, but like we kicked ass, right? Like there was a lot of things that we did that they're still doing now that we kind of, came up with. And so through that, this contract that I was working for was he was getting more contracts and he kept sending more people out to work, and he kind of screwed it up because he was sending the wrong people, right? So he lost his contract. But I remember at the time, like, so I'm getting paid from this, and I'm getting the unemployment, and I'm like, I like the way this looks in my account. This looks really good. And, and I kept saying like, this is just about, this would make sense, more sense than what I had been making. It was almost twice as much, right? And I'm like, man, if I could just make this in one spot, that'd be great. That'd be great. And some time went by, and I tell you this, some time went by, and I was just running around, and I was like doing gig work, and painting and building stuff, and yeah, it's whatever. And like I'd never missed a rent payment, car payment, insurance, nothing. So everything was like always, all my needs were met throughout this time where like there was uncertainty. And then I get a call from this company, this tech company, and they asked me if I want to work for them. And it was just, and now I'm like making the kind of money that, like I said, I should be able to make this in one spot. These things just happened, and it was like Abraham Hicks always says this. She talks about the art of allowing. You know, and so just allowing these things to happen, and the awareness that like there's an opportunity, because like you can't open the door if you don't know there's a door there. You just can't. Like there's, you know. So the awareness is what awareness does is it gives me options. It shows me that there's other things besides, you know, you're talking about the paradigm shift, that the paradigm that I'm in, you know, initially says like this is how it's going to be, you know, and then there's a shift. It's like, and there's an awareness. It says no, it could be like this. Like, wow, I didn't even see that. I never knew that was there. And then there's a decision to be made. It's like, okay, so do you go down this unknown variable? Do you try and figure out what's on the other side of this, the unknown, or do you just keep going the way that you always went and play it safe? You know? And you know, there's a whole lot of things that go along with this, right? So I was thinking about, like, you know, there's got to be like a level of courage to go into the unknown.
Ooh,
right?
Absolutely.
And why do I need courage? Because there's fear. Why is there fear? Fear of my insecurities actually showing up and saying, "See, I told you. See, I told you, you suck." You know,
right?
Like really. And so like I was talking before about like getting to know what trauma stuff is in there, in me, right? Because these things will pop up when at the most opportune moment, when like this is the time I need to like move forward and chase a dream. And because it's right there, I can see it. I need to chase this dream, but then, you know, some old trauma stuff will come up and be like, "Yo, man, you're never going to be that good. I mean, you're good, you're all right, but you're never going to be that good. You can't do that, like what they're doing. You're not like them. They're not like you." You know? So those things, you know, whisper to you. But again, relationships, having a network of people that I can actually honestly talk about that stuff with. Hey, this thing is trying to, I have this, there's something pulling me in the, to sit down and not chase the dream, you know? And like if I said that to you, you know, I'm looking for you to encourage me to go ahead and go for the thing, you know, to let me know that like, even if I go for it and I fall, I'm still better off than I was if I had never gone for it at all.
For sure. Reminds me of years ago, I started a job after moving to Florida. I got a very quick job with a friend cleaning leather sofas. He owned the company, and I was basically his muscle. I did all the scrubbing and lifting of sofas and couches and things like that, and he did all the intricate work and did the sales and talked to customers while I did all the cleaning. And but he paid me well. And it was we only worked 3 days a week, Monday through Thursday or Monday through Wednesday, and we only worked till 3:30. We worked from 10 to 3:30, and he paid me as if I was working 40 hours a week. So I have no complaints about the job. And on the very first day of the job, he said, "Hey, let's go to lunch." We even had lunch breaks in between the 10 and 3:30. So it was very short days. We got paid very well for what it was that we did. And he said, "Hey, let's go to the beach." And I said, "That sounds great." I said, let's go eat lunch at the beach. And so we were right outside of Miami, and he took me to this place called All Over Beach in Miami. And it's a nudist beach. I had no clue. So it's my first time ever going to a nudist beach. And I don't know why I told this part of the story. It really didn't matter. It could have been any beach, but it really did happen to be a nudist beach. But we're fully clothed in these work uniforms, and we're walking on the beach, and everybody else is clearly completely nude. And you know, I remember it was like we look like tourists. You know, it's like who comes to a nudist beach and doesn't take off their clothes? So we looked like we were there just to look at people, and I felt very awkward to kind of, you know, so I'm looking out at the ocean. I didn't want to be like, seem like I was a gawker and just staring at people. And so we sat down, found our own little space in the sand, started eating lunch. And, you know, I remember there was like this really, really, really smoking hot girl, like in my view, standing out in the beach, and they were like playing volleyball, or not volleyball, playing with a beach ball or something. Like it was like something out of a movie. And I said to my boss at the time, he's much older than I am, pretty wise man, works in the art of living space with Sri Ravi Shankar, and so he's in the same space we are too, consciously too. And he said to me, he was like, why don't you go? He's like, why don't you go talk to her? And I said to him, I said, are you crazy? Like I couldn't imagine walking up to a woman not wearing any clothes while I'm wearing clothes on the beach at a nudist beach. I just couldn't fathom it. And so I left. We left. We ate lunch. And we left, and I never went up and spoke to that girl. And he chided me all afternoon. He was like, but what if that was your soulmate? What if you were supposed to have met her? Like, do you really think us sitting on the beach and this person was right there in front of you playing? She looked over like multiple times and kind of smiled our direction. I really didn't have the guts to at the time, but he really drilled it in. He was like, what if you had the courage? What was the worst that she could have said was no, called you perv, whatever it was. Like you're definitely the type that could have shrugged that off, but maybe I'm not. Maybe that would have been a blow to my ego and made me feel all icky inside. Maybe I did feel kind of pervy, but I had no clue I was going there, or that was our lunch destination. Nice. I know that's kind of a weird story, but I wanted to dial in the fact that, like, what if I had taken the courage? I have been in multiple occasions where I've been this close to making a connection with somebody like that I was trying to chase down, that somebody that I really wanted to make a connection with. But when they showed up in a weird, like at a coffee shop with their friends while I'm inside by myself doing my own thing, I didn't have the courage to get up and make the connection while they were with their friends.
Yeah.
So, and I lost, I don't have those connections, so I think sometimes being courageous or taking ourselves out of our comfort zone is very much the part of aligning with, but see, those are the big jump ones. Those are the ones that might have the ability to shake us out of our core and change our trajectory as well.
True. I mean, but like you can't really, you never really know which one.
Of course not.
What's the big one, So,
well, they all can be too.
Right. So you just never.
Holly was saying that earlier. Yep.
Yeah. Because you could think it was like insignificant, like just to meet this person, but it could be like super important.
I learned something by not doing anything about myself, which makes me more courageous now, just having the experience as well.
So when you were talking about that, I was thinking about just being in the moment, right?
Yep.
In the moment, I can do things like that. But like when I'm caught up in the what if and if only and just one more time, all that stuff, when I'm caught up in all that, that's not real, that I created in my own head about
the fantasy place.
Fantasy place, right? That's usually what stops me from moving forward. Is like, I've already figured out how this is going to fail, and so why even bother and just say that I lost? Just take the L. I'm just going to take the L. I'm going to go sit down, sit on the bench, take the L.
Yeah. So, I have, I've never been married. So I've been in 4-4-year relationships. Actually, so let me take that back. I've been in 4-year relationships. And I am friends with every single one of those persons that I was in a 4-year relationship today. They've either been, gone on to get married, et cetera, et cetera. But we all parted amicably.
Say it again.
Amicably. Thank you. I had to get that one out. Amicably. And I've learned from all of those relationships, and each relationship after the first one just continued to evolve. And they were from the groundwork, from what I learned in each one of those relationships. And then one of the things that, like in Clubhouse today, a lot of the moderators would ask, so what did you take? What was the best thing that you took away from that round? And so, like, what I took away from each of those was, it wasn't about who was the problem or who wasn't right for each other. What it made me realize, I myself wasn't clear about what I wanted. 100%. It was, I didn't have any set anything in my life. It wasn't about expectations or standards or morals. It's not at all what it was really is that I was a free floating spirit going into the majority of all of those relationships. And I didn't have anything about myself. I was just a guy who worked, who tried to make money so he could keep the roof over his head and have food on the table. And that was about the extent of any of my expectations of life, which really, once got past the dating phase and the Netflix and chill and all that kind of stuff, there wasn't much else beyond that. Even though I felt like I was pretty deep, I wasn't. There was just not much going on in my life that was to facilitate. I couldn't even take you to a good date place. Like I never even thought of one. Like I never thought about what would be a good date, what would be a good dinner place. Like I had no depth at all. As deep as I thought I was, no depth, none whatsoever. So I realized I wasn't bringing anything to any of these relationships that no other guy had, or there might've been, I love that Casey said, we need role models for relationships. Absolutely. Especially in marriages.
Don't we have them? Isn't it like media, TV?
Oh, you mean the Huxtables?
Yes. Yes.
the Bankses?
But seriously, like that's basically what people are basing their expectations off of. It's like
very,
what we
very
see
much
on TV. And so, I mean, like that's cool and all, but, are you watching the same thing that I'm watching? Because I might be watching something else, and, I might have been watching like Married with Children while you were watching, the Brady Bunch. I don't know.
The Simpsons.
So, The Simpsons, right. But like the thing is like and then it needs to be talked about. Like I need to know what mine is. And then hopefully you know what yours is. And then we can talk about that and like come to some sort of mutual agreement. Like you said before, like, there's an agreement, like we're going to be in a relationship. This is kind of how we're going to like proceed. Something like this, like within these types of guidelines, that means that you can't go be with other people, like that kind of thing. Like, let's make sure that we know this and like not, assume that we know, but I need to know what mine is. What do I want? What do I bring to the table? What do I want? Who am I? Which way am I going? If I could present that, and you could present that, then maybe we can either work together or not.
So here's where we're about to segue, and we're about to blow this up in a second, and I'm gonna drop these secrets on you on how to attract what it is that you want. But I'm also I really want to define exactly what Damian was saying there. It's like getting clear about what you want. Now here's where the issue comes in when we say here's what you want, because I know all the girls are out there, they want that 6'3" guy, right? Who's tall, dark, and handsome, whatever that is, or the guy wants, the gal who's got that super fit body and has $1 million and whatever it is, or the yacht, or whatever the things are that we're looking for, and maybe it's not that, maybe it's just
with a yachty,
a hottie with a yachty, bro. Yes. See, he's quick with it. I like that. Or maybe it's some people are that is not at all what they want, and all they want is somebody who's super kind to them and who's going to be loyal and trustworthy. I hear that quite often. Like those are the key things that women are looking for is super loyal, super trustworthy, and who's going to put them before other people. But so those sound like things that we would, and then of course, all those were in the relationship space. Like if you're looking to manifest a business partner, a lot of times we say, oh, he's going to give me all the money for the least amount of percentage, or she is. Or if we're looking for a friend, oh, I want a road dog. I want somebody who's going to do everything with me. Those are my mom, Yvonne, says Lucy and Ricky. Yeah, what a couple, right?
Right.
Or Alice and Ralph, exactly. Like those are actually some of the models that have produced many relationships in our in this in decades past and growing into this reality. Fresh Prince and a lot of these shows, like family type shows that were the Huxtables. Partridge Family with a single family,
Different strokes.
different
Yeah,
strokes.
I always
right?
wanted
Absolutely.
to be like one of their cousins or something to come on the show and be like, "Oh, this is your cousin Damian. Oh my God." Yeah. So that was but like that was based in like a need for somebody to come rescue me from
Understood.
where I was at. Like,
Understood, because I had the same feeling. And it was somebody with some money, so he could give you all the stuff that you wanted.
Oh, absolutely.
Mr. Drummond. We all wanted a Mr. Drummond to
Right.
just show up and be like, "Yo, here you go." I didn't want the Webster family. Like,
No.
they were something was a little off about the Papadopouloses.
That
but
was a little weird. It was a little weird.
I didn't want a Mr. Belvedere, but I wanted a Benson.
Yes.
So I get it. Like, I totally, like, I wanted a Mr. Henry, to the Punky Brewster, like somebody that was real loving and nurturing. And looking at those,
that was my first crush.
Soleil Moonfry.
Yes.
Stop, because
Loved her.
relax.
I know,
That's
bro.
relax. That's my girl.
I'm just saying. I saw her first.
Hey, maybe you didn't, because I remember watching it. I waited for that all week. I saw the promo. And I stayed up for Punky Brewster. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I remember that when that came out. Yeah. Actually, Cherry. I think I'm connected with Cherry on social media. So the girl who plays Cherry, she's still acting. Soleil's still acting. I'm connected with Soleil on social media too. We're connected on Twitter.
I said, "What's up?"
Yeah, she's married and got kids, but she's a beautiful person. Yeah. And I'll tell her I said what's up. So what we were talking about is defining relationships, about what we want from relationships. Now here's where the magic happens. This is it. I'm going to give you the Awakenware method, my method of that I've learned, that has the ability to. I like that look. He's like. I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you guys.
I was just seeing if we had like a magic button.
We might.
No, that's not
it. All right. So here.
That's not.
Was that what you were looking for?
That's not it.
Okay. All right.
All right. So
the Awakenware method, or the conscious method, is what it is. The reason I say Awakenware is because, again, if you guys are just joining us and new to this community, the definition of consciousness is to be awake and aware of one's surroundings. And that means outside, inside, that it's mind, body, spirit. It's the whole thing. It is a holistic thing. So this is the holistic approach to attracting relationships. All of us can take out a list and name 10 things that you want in a person, whether it be a relationship, business person, et cetera, et cetera. The majority of those are going to be self-based. Like, I want this. I want somebody who fits the inside spoon perfectly. I want somebody who's going to bring me lunch and flowers on Valentine's Day and deliver flowers and roses. I want a person who is going to marry me and love me forever. I want this. I want that. Guess what? That is the key to manifesting the wrong person. It's 100% the key to manifesting the wrong person. And I'm going to show you why. So when you say, I want a person who does this for me, you attract that person who does all of that. That you think is fulfilling to you, but now all of a sudden, this person has their wants and their needs, and everything is out of whack, and you are the wrong person for them. Mm-hmm. And guess what? They're going to make your life miserable. And guess what? They're going to be so much what you want, you're going to want to hold on to them, even though you're the wrong person for them. So let me tell you how to adjust that to make it work for yourself. Is you have to think of the inverse of that, or the form of that. Now, the same thing, if you said, I want a person who's going to bring me flower or have flowers delivered to me on Valentine's Day. Instead of that, you would say, I want a person who enjoys giving flowers to their significant other on Valentine's Day. See, now it's not just the want of what you need and somebody to fulfill it. It's somebody who likes to give you what you need and enjoys being that person for you. You're now the connection, that you are that match. And that is how it's just a shift in understanding that when we send out the information to the universe in the state of desire and want, we are basically creating a state of lack. And that lack shows up in that relationship. And that's why we get these hollow relationships. That's why we get things that seem like it's going to be everything. And then all of a sudden it's not.
Oh man, it looks so good on paper.
Exactly.
It really did.
Exactly.
It was like everything was right there. It was like, man, this is like made to order. But
you ain't read that fine print.
But then, like the commitment to longevity in the relationship and the depth, right, to go beyond that paper, it wasn't there. It just wasn't there.
And so what we've been using is this old paradigm that was, and one of the beautiful things is like when we woke up, one of the first things we realized is, man, most of the problems that I had were about self-centeredness. And the second we get past and listen, it's super easy. Our ego is constantly tripping and constantly blaring. Your id, your rider, or the guy on the inside, the guy who the the person who's constantly talking to the observer. However you want to put it, that thing is constantly trying to get your attention to switch your intention to be based on you. And your focus to be your filter to be you. When you start to manifest and say what I can do for somebody else, and in addition to adding what you can do for somebody else, what that person might enjoy with you and what you have to give. So say you are somebody that absolutely enjoys movies. You say, I want somebody to watch movies with me every day. Well, you didn't say you want that person to enjoy watching movies with you every day. You didn't say, I'm willing to watch new types of movies and come along, because you want to show them your movie that you've loved all your life, but you have no interest in watching what it is that they love that might be completely different than what you like. And these are the types of scenarios that show up in the wrong type of relationships, even though they're giving you exactly what you wanted. So I would very highly recommend. So let's see here. We got backing up a bit. Casey said the Obamas. Yeah, what are that's a great. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is an absolute wonderful example of a relationship. Like I have, yeah, exactly. I would love to see that for many people as parents, as adults, as people who exist in the digital age, people that are highly successful, people who came together and sacrificed for each other.
But still, there's only one aspect of that we see. We see what they want us to see.
Oh, for sure.
And so to base my desire on just that, because there's dimensions to this. It's deeper than just what we're able to see. So still in creating this and manifesting this relationship of like the Obamas or what have you, still have to fill in the blanks. There's a lot of blanks that we don't know about that we're going to have to fill in ourselves.
Sure.
Right. So I think that's where we're headed, right? Like filling in all the blanks is like, okay, these are the things that are going to enrich my life, and I want to be able for this person to feel and the same and want to do these things.
So can we make a list to actually saying all the things we want in a person and all the experiences that we can? Does that even sound practical?
No.
Exactly. So I'm gonna jump on in a second. So Artemis Art here said, I found that I want from a relationship, I needed to practice it with myself, and the right person shows up. But buy myself flowers, take myself out to a dinner, etc. And he says, especially once I become happy with me. So this is a lot of people in this space use the tool of loving thyself first and creating the relationships that you want with yourself. Absolutely, that is absolutely probably the best way to attract the right relationships. Now, those tend to be the more personal, romantic type relationships. But what do you do with business relationships? How do you attract that? Where Damian actually mentioned it in a different way than I am earlier, but he mentioned was it acceptance
Acceptance.
So in the realm of acceptance, I want to talk about holding space. And because holding space is actually accepting. It's accepting what's coming as if it's already now. It's already in the place. So holding space means, if you're trying to attract the right person, you're not going to be spending time with the wrong person. Because like I was talking with Damian earlier, it's like, listen, if you want the significant other who's into playing video games and collecting Ninja Turtles with you, and you have that person in your life that hates that shit, like you're an adult, you better sell that stuff. We don't need this shit in our life. I don't care if that's what you're all about. You better change that. Does that sound like the right person for you if that's what you're passionate about and that's what you love and that's who you want to be? Absolutely not. And if that person...
That's the person that showed up. So what if I just keep this person and try to make it work?
You like the warm body at night.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to make a sacrifice and change your trajectory through communication and through agreements, you have your space, I have my space. And on the big stuff, we're going to come together and work in trajectory, and we're not going to worry about the little stuff. That would be through communication and agreements, and that would absolutely be acceptable to most people.
That's real nice.
And often you're not going to find the person who likes the exact same things that you do in all types of relationships. So you might have a wife who doesn't care about working on cars, and she sells Mary Kay, and you have no interest in helping her with her makeup business. Can you still be successful in a relationship? Absolutely. But now, if she wants you to sell all your cars, hates the way you smell about motor oil, and tells you you've got to give that up for the rest of your life because she doesn't like it,
that's not going to work.
So, right. Well, that's the point is ultimately, and I'm not saying that's just one, I'm just giving you an example of somebody who I would say is probably, if they're that rigid and they're not willing to, you're going to have to swallow something. And, if you're in a marriage, chances are you're going to have to come to some big compromises to make that work, which you're still capable of doing. And you might need to go find a new hobby. That might be what's right for you guys. I'm not saying that's not what's right for anybody in any type of relationship. And this conversation is not about maintaining your relationships. This one's about attracting the right ones in the first place. So you married people out there, I'd be looking more into the friendships, especially ones that help your marriage thrive, or friendships that help your business thrive. I have friends that help in the business space today. I count business partners as friends. I'm in business with family members today. So I have blurred some of the boundaries, and so I've taken some hits. I've definitely taken some hits. I had a business partner once steal $16,000 from me. I had one leave me high and dry, right before launching a business. It's not. But on the same note, I've had good business partners. I've had friendships. I still have, as a matter of fact, I'm still friends with both people who may or may not have. We just weren't right for each other in business, but we're right for each other in a friendship level, and I'm okay with that. And the same thing, sometimes family doesn't work out in these things, but this is where we've got to be able to manifest the right people to fill those roles. Like if you want to be successful in business, I highly recommend that you have a mentor. But guess what? Just reaching out to somebody who's successful because they make a lot of money or drive a Bentley. I know people who drive Bentleys, and I'm not taking business advice because, they got Bentleys, but their business advice is not sound, and that's probably one of the reasons they drive in Bentleys and not a Camry, because they're just not business savvy. They live paycheck to paycheck, that kind of thing. It's not the right person for me. But see, that's where it is. I'm discerning about what I want in my life. And then I create the space for that person to come into my life. I'm open, and, you guys have probably heard this one, but like, if you're single and you're by yourself and you say you got a queen size bed and you look over to the left or the right of you on the bed and you got a laptop over there, you got the remote over there, you got a half-eaten bag of chips over there, you got yesterday's plate over there, the dog sleeps over there. Chances are, you're not holding space for a significant other. You know, I'm not saying one can't show up. I'm just saying you ain't doing nothing to attract the right person, because you're going to be begrudgingly, oh, that's where my laptop sits, or, oh, that's where Sparky sits. That's Sparky's space when you meet a new man. He ain't digging that when he shows up at your house. He's not want to hang out and watch Netflix with you when it's Sparky's space, and you know, you haven't created any space for him or for her. I'm just using that as an example, right? That's just one thing that can be used to create space, and hold space.
Can we go back to like what Art was saying, right?
Art made a really good point with the doing it with yourself,
like doing it with yourself, like self-care, basically. Doing things like that is also creating space. Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
What you're doing is creating an expectation of that energy, right? So now I felt that energy of what it feels like to be taken care of, right? And so like I'm attracting more of that to me.
Yes. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So like there's not a lack, there's not this neediness, because I've already fulfilled that, right? Also, keeping in mind, like, let's say, we're praying, we're wishing, we're hoping, and let's say that all these things are going to come true. It's guaranteed that they're going to come true. Let's say all this stuff is going to come true. Who are you going to be when it does show up, though? Are you going to be in the right spot? Like, have you done the necessary work to be in the space, right? Let's say this person shows up in the space, in the right space, but I'm not even there.
Well, you're not the right person.
Right. I'm not the right person, because like I'm asking for something that like I can't even hold on to just yet.
Right. But there's a right person for that time frame too. There's a facilitator to help you get to the next space that you'd like to go to.
Well, you see it though.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Will you see it? Will you take the opportunity?
Well, so the person that shows up to be a facilitator doesn't have to look like the next person. So you don't have to fall in love with the person who is showing you your next space. Like your mother could help you and say, hey, baby, you might need to take a shower and put some deodorant on so you don't smell like you got a hoagie in a headlock. Right?
Yes.
So I told you, see, that was my little Dave Chappelle moment. I told him I was going to use that in the show.
Yeah.
He told that to me earlier, and I laughed my ass off, and I was like, yo, I'm going to use that in the show. Watch. So, it's the point is you may see a space, where, like you're wanting something specific. Let's use the business example and step away from the relationship, because it can get blurred in this. It's a little less blurry in the business example. So say you're ready for an investor, or say you're looking for a business mentor, but you don't know how to find the right business mentor. Well, first thing is you don't know what you don't know. So you can't say, I need a person to be able to show me how to do this, 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 and this. That's not what a mentor is to do. You can just Google for that. That's just information that if you know the information that you need, just get on Google and start researching it, start watching videos on YouTube. What you're looking for is a mentor who can show you what you don't know. And that means you've got to take some type of leap of faith. You also have to look out for somebody who has something that you want, in a sense, meaning that they've already been in business, and they know it. And listen, you're like, oh, well, how would I just knock on his door? No, send him an email. Send him an email, write him a letter, write him an old time. Listen, if it's a book writer, guess what? On the back of the book, there's an address that you can address and write anybody who's written any book in this country that's been published with an ISBN. There's a PO box on there. And guess what? They get that mail. And one of my first business mentors, a guy named Rick Dragon, who wrote a book called Social Marketology, who's an NYU marketing professor. I wrote him a letter. That was it. I wrote him a letter. He responded back. And the next thing I know, I owned a marketing agency in Miami, Tamarack, and Fort Lauderdale, 3 different marketing agencies, and had an office a month later from writing a letter to my mentor. And he gave me the processes to get and start my own social media business, marketing business. So it's not difficult, but I saw he was already doing it. He was an influencer in the space. And the funniest thing is when you come across successful people, they want to share how they got there, what their processes are, what their tools are, and they might even invest in you. So, I think it's really important. And again, I'm going to throw it out there again. This is one of those reasons that Clubhouse app is really hot, because you can find all of those things in one place, and you ain't even got to write a letter. You can just tap in. So that's one way. So my man over here found a job when he was looking for a job. He found a career when he was looking for a career. And it's taken him all over the country. Like, you've been all over the place, man.
Bro, I hadn't traveled before then.
Yeah.
Like, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had always wanted to travel, but it was so out of reach,
Right.
Like, if I travel, I got to take time off. When I take time off, then I don't get paid. Then I can't afford it. There were so many limitations,
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm getting paid to travel, and they're paying for the room and
So when you manifested this was, you didn't just get what you needed. You didn't just get a paycheck. You wasn't shoveling a ditch every weekend in the rain, and barely eating peanut butter and jelly every day,
right?
Because you needed more than that.
Well, yeah. So to keep it, 100, like, I've always, and this is crazy. Like, you want to talk about like paradigm, in my paradigm, I've always had enough. I've always had the car. I've always had the place to stay. I've always had, been able to eat the foods that I wanted. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this isn't because like somebody passed something down to me or anything like that. Like, I worked up to a level, and like, I do not see myself being under that level. It doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, and my expectation is that I'm going to level up, and I'm going to level up, and I'm going to level up.
Like it.
So
like it.
Yeah. So there hasn't been a point where, so there was a point where I was like homeless. Mm-hmm. Right, because I took a business venture that didn't work out, trying to sell solar, right? That didn't work out. I moved.
Tried to sell the light, huh?
Yeah, I tried to sell the light. I was an ambassador of the sun, right? That's what I used to tell people.
I like it.
Right?
I like it.
And that didn't work out. We had to like move out of the place that we were renting. There's a bunch of us like renting a space, and I had given up my apartment from before, so I didn't have a place to go. But all I did, I didn't lose faith, and one thing led to another, and I was in a good place, and I was able to make money, and I met these people, and I got this job, and then I started doing this, and and it all worked out, man. There was never a point where like I felt like this is it, this is where I'm just going to stay. I'm like, this is temporary. This is a little jump off point right here. That's it.
In college, most people who know me or remember me in college, I was in a lot better shape and kind of super built, and had the 12-pack at one point in time before a car accident. And I hated our college gym. It was really small. They had old weights that I always had left rust marks, and I just didn't like working out there. But I needed to work out every day to maintain my physique and the way that I thought about myself, and that was like my whole persona. And I couldn't afford a gym at the time. Like as a student, like every penny went to food, insurance, car, etc. It's a telephone bill. I just didn't have the money. So I had to work out this really lame gym on a really small campus. And I said, today I'm going to do something about this. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to find a way to work out at a better gym. I'm going to go, if I got to go mop a floor or something, I don't care. So I went to the swankiest gym in Fort Lauderdale and walked in, and nobody was there to greet me at their desk. And I was just like, all right, so maybe I'm just going to walk in and go work out. Nobody's going to come look for me after that. But before I got halfway through, I saw there was a bulletin board, and there was one piece of paper on it, and it said looking for sales manager. And I just grabbed a piece of paper, walked up to the GM's office, and I was like, this is me. He was like, all right, cool. When can you start? I swear to you, I didn't fill out an application. I didn't put in a resume. The guy, it was just like, all right, cool, got you. It was like he needed somebody. I look cool. I mean, eventually he had me fill out an application after he gave me the job. But I was just like, and I was like, but wait a minute. I was like, do I get free gym here? And he was like, yeah, you can work out all you want. As a matter of fact, you can work So I used to work out till 11 o'clock at night. That was a relationship that I manifested. It wasn't just the facility. That was a relationship that it wasn't about the job, because I could care. Like I did the least amount of work I've ever done at any job at that job. I won't name the gym. Actually, I was still their star salesman, but I felt really bad that I didn't, but it was only about using their facilities. So I got that job. I think I worked 20 hours a week. But for me, it was about not having to pay for a gym. Their gym membership was insane. It was like $250 a month for the level of what I got. So it was important to me to get that, and that's what I got. But before, and I didn't know that's what I was going to do. It was not clear to me. I didn't know that was going to happen. And when I said I was going to mop a floor, I had no intentions of going there and getting a job. That was not in the books. So Yvonne says, I want to be whatever I attract at my very center. Love myself like I want to be loved and attract the loving person who is loving. Well, sounds like that's very well written. Sounds like you are on the path to attracting that. You've got to believe that too. It's not just, to one of the things is same with a job. Well, if you want a job, same thing. You have to be willing to do that. And then you have to hold that space. Like that's something, like if you want a job somewhere in the physical world, or, start looking at job boards, look at, but also what is your dream job versus, what's a job that is going to nurture you versus just give you a paycheck. Often we go out and we look for jobs in a space of need, lack, doubt, and worry.
Is that just jobs, or is that relationships as well?
Oh man, look at you. Guru demand. Exactly. Like we do that. Absolutely. When we're lonely, it's the worst time to try to manifest.
So once again, back to the self-care thing.
Yes.
So now if I'm filling my own cup up, right? I'm not needy. I'm not, so, okay. So here's a story. I was working as, a counselor intern because I had never gotten my credentials to be a counselor. Mm-hmm. So I was always an intern. And that's one of the reasons why I had to get out of that. Cause it was either go all in for school or just go do something else. So I did something else. And there was this guy, he was finishing his treatment. He was going for a job interview, and he was like, oh man, I'm so nervous. I'm super nervous and blah, blah, blah. And so I asked him, I said, hey, you ever hit on somebody that you didn't really find attractive? And he was like, yeah. I said, how smooth were you? He was like, yo, I was super smooth. I said, why? Because like there's nothing to lose.
No expectations.
There was no expectation, and there was no risk involved, So I said to him, like, when you go to the job interview, flirt with the unattractive person, like do that, like be that guy, because like that's in you. You can do that. So when I'm not worried about, losing, because like you can't lose something that you didn't have. This is bottom line. Like I need to tell myself that over and over again. I can't lose something that I never had in the first place. So like, there's nothing at risk here.
So what are you saying? Just walk around, shoot your shot, kid?
Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Like seriously, like in business, looking for that job opportunity, shoot your shot. You never know, because that may be the thing that somebody was looking for. Maybe people are getting tired of looking at the same old. Listen, I tell you this, right? If you've ever been in charge of the hiring process, all of the resumes look the same. They all look the same. There's another one. That was like this format, blah, blah, blah. Right?
I used to have to fire 500 people by Christmas, from October to Christmas. So I get it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. It's a hiring manager for Radio Shack.
That's terrible. But yeah. So, but the thing is like if something sticks out, somebody sticks out. Why would they stick out? Because they made themselves known. Like I'm here. I'm here for that. That's mine. I'm gonna come get that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of attitude. And then if you don't get it, it's all right, because I never had it in the first place. I didn't lose anything.
True.
Yeah.
It's very much that having that courageous aspect that we were talking about earlier. You know, and you know, like with me writing the letter to Rick Dragon, and you know, I had no expectation that he was going to reach back out to me. Like, I just wanted to write him a letter, and it was very much in just giving him praise and accolades. And in the process, I told him what I was doing. He just happened to reach back out, which I thought was absolutely amazing. I give him props for that. And almost all the business connections that were level ups for me, very much took that leap of faith. And it was just, and it was never, I need something. Hey, what do you got for me? Or let me get something. It was really like, it was kind of like where I had nothing to lose, you know, like I wasn't, what was I going to lose? Because I wasn't set myself with all these expectations like, yo, I need you to give me this, or I need this from you. It was very much like, hey man, I'm really into what it is you're doing. And just in conversation, it came up, even though I knew that this was a person that could change my life, could change the course of my business. I just didn't treat it that way. You know, like it was a lot of times people hear me use this term, it's organic. And I don't just mean the food. Like, organic relationships are the best relationships. These are the ones that flow into your life and like they do this. You know, I'm going to give another analogy here. I love analogies.
Oh, me too. They're my favorite. They
Right?
are. They really are.
Once you get excited for this one, it's the difference. So I think I might have dropped this a couple weeks ago. So if I'm repeating content here, don't hate the player. So I want to define the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame. And so it's just an analogy that I use for these two. So to give you an I don't know if I have used this or not, but a twin flame is like 2 cigarettes, 2 Newports in a pack, or 2 Marlboros, 2 Camels, whatever, 2 cigarettes, and that's it. There's no other cigarettes in there. They're in their own little dark space. Like, hey man, we're the last 2 cigarettes. You know, it's just me and you. I've been waiting for all the others to leave, you know, and there they are together, exactly the same. And they're like, you know what? I think they're smoking us out there. I don't really, you know what I mean? Like, I really think they're just setting us on fire. Oh, no, that can't be it. You know, but they're sitting there entertaining each other's little conspiracy theories about what's really going on outside the pack. That's the twin flame relationship. They're the same. They're the same energy, the same entity. Now, here's the soulmate. It's just 1 cigarette in a pack. Pull the cigarette out, and then there's a lighter. The lighter and the cigarette are soulmates. They fulfill each other. The cigarette gets burnt up by the lighter, and the lighter has fulfilled its purpose in burning up that cigarette. That's what a soulmate is they feed each other 100% from 2 different directions. It doesn't have to be 2 different directions, but soulmates are not the same as a twin flame. Twin flames are the same thing. So if you're looking for that person who comes in, this person is going to help me with my business. They're going to be my partner. They're going to help me make lunches at night. They're going to watch the same shows that I do. That's not your soulmate. That's your twin flame. So this is where I was talking about when it comes down to attracting the right people. Are you attracting your twin flame, or are you attracting your soulmate? Because your soulmate's going to be very much different. They're going to shake you out of your core a little bit. You're always, you know, I've heard somebody say, don't be with the person that keeps you on edge all the time. Like that person's so handsome that I constantly don't feel comfortable around them, even though I love the way they look, or the way she's so beautiful. I get lost in her eyes, but then I can't speak to her because I'm like a blubbering idiot around her. You know, is that the right person for you? You know, are you the right person for them that you just, you know, so those are things that you have to soul search for yourself to see if those are the right things for you or not. But again, if you're wanting somebody who's doing the exact same thing, you want to love all the same things you do, don't be trying to manifest that's not going to be your soulmate. That's going to be a twin flame. And often most people are like, oh, well, if I want a twin flame, I don't want them to be in that romantic relationship. That's a friend. Think about that. So if you may not get your wife or your husband to 100% love all the hobbies that you have. or the traits that you have, or the way that you communicate. Those are things that you have to recognize might come from somebody else in a different space, whether it be a friend or a close colleague, work wife or work husband that fulfills you in that kind of way, even though it's not a romantic relationship, but they can talk to you all day about Star Wars and Baby Yoda and Grogu and those types of things, even though your spouse hates it, but you can still very much love that person because that person is your soulmate and your twin flame is with you at work or is your friend that shows up, that you guys do things with on the weekend, et cetera, et cetera. So really getting clear about defining what relationships are to you, defining what those roles are going to be for you, but also getting outside of yourself and recognizing that you should be willing to give in relationships as much as you're asking to seek. And that's part of that's part of the process that you need to implement when you're putting out your vision boards, when you're thinking about what kind of relationships you want, what kind of experiences you want with those relationships, what you're willing to give, and also to think in the inverse that if you're wanting to attract somebody, that you should be thinking about what they like in terms of you, that you want to attract somebody that likes what you have, that likes the eye type that you have, or the height that you have, or the way that you snore, or the way that you snort when you laugh, or whatever your little quirks are. You might think that, like, I would like somebody who likes that versus I want somebody who can put up with that, or, somebody who's going to look past that versus, and then also, whatever you got to think about, whatever you're willing to do for a person, what boundaries are you willing to push for another person? Because if some things are deal breakers for you, you should be recognize that. Otherwise, those will turn into red flags for other people moving forward, even in the business and in the romantic relationship state. So. It's moving on at 10:05. We got a few minutes. I'm going to put up the telephone numbers here. And so I'm going to put these up. And remember, the first caller who calls in is going to get one of these t-shirts. So what has to happen for that? You've got to reach out to me on social media, message us at the Awakenware page, and you need to tell me the size that you want and where I can send it to. If you don't do that, I can't send you a shirt.
I believe you owe me a t-shirt.
Okay. Do I have your address? Did you reach back out to me? Man, wait a minute. I even said it on the show, bro. I told you, I said, if you want a shirt and you won a shirt from me,
because I did,
you did, then you got to send me the information, what size you want the shirt in.
Actually, that's
and where to send it to.
I came here was to get my
the shirt.
Well,
you can have the one off my back.
Bro.
That smells like hoagies in a headlock.
A hoagie in a headlock. There we go.
Okay, so all right, here go the numbers. They both lead to the same place, so you can choose either number. It doesn't matter. Neither one's going to get you through much sooner. But if you'd like to call in, first person. Oh, very cool. My homegirl just got in the clubhouse, so I'm grateful for that. As a business partner and friend, telling you guys, if you ain't got an iPhone, now this is the most incentive I've ever seen to get one. Clubhouse is where it's at. So you guys reach out. Pick up the phone, dial the numbers, hit my man Damian up.
Yeah,
connect with your man Nick. If you got questions, if you want to say, but like, man, how do I get the 6'3" guy, or how do I get the 5'7" brunette with the green eyes? How do I manifest that unicorn? How do I get that $1 million? Listen, I'll tell you a story where I met a billionaire, and he said, you know what? I want to invest in your company without me asking him a question. Let me tell you that story while I'm waiting for you guys to call in. Because so I was at a retreat in Cropalo in upstate Massachusetts, Lenox, Massachusetts, and I was sharing a room with a guy who was a yogi, and I had been there for 10 days, and it was on the last day they booked the room, and I just came in, and the guy was in my room, and I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. And he's a little guy, had a scraggly beard. I just didn't judge him for much. Not that I was misjudging him. He just didn't strike me as anything special that I needed to know about. He wasn't there at the conference that I was there for. And he started asking me questions. Like, he was polite, but I had stuff on the other side of the room because I had the room to myself, and I was like, oh man, I might have offended this guy because my laptop might have been on his bed or something like that when he came in, because I noticed he had moved it over on my bed. And we just started talking and rapping, and I was like, oh, like, what do you do? And he was like, yeah, or better yet, he asked me about my essential oil that I was wearing, and it was sandalwood and blood orange, and he picked it out. Like, he picked all the things that were in it from a scent. He was like, oh, what is that? Sandalwood, blood orange, vanilla. Like, he hit every one. He was like, oh yeah, I make essential oils. That's what it was. I was like, oh, well, I'm not really in that space. I wasn't thinking, oh, let me get in the essential oil business. Turns out this guy's a billionaire. Now, he owns one of the largest media corporations, or he's part owner of one of the largest media corporations. And this guy was the very first blogger. They call him the blog father because he's the first guy to ever write a blog. He's in the room with me, and he's got tons of money, and he's in the space, and he's a yogi, and he's like and he writes books about yoga. And I'm just sitting here, and I'm like, and I was working on a business app with an engineering business partner that invited me to this yoga seminar. And here's this guy he was like, yeah, why don't you tell me about it? And he was like, oh yeah, so what do you need, money to get that started? I was like, yeah, of course. He was like, all right, I'll fund you. It's like, what? I haven't even done anything. Like, and here's this guy, and it was like, oh yeah. And so at this point, I still think he's just a yogi, and I'm like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, so I made some money. Yeah, we started this company called Politico, and we started this company called Vox Media, and it was like, you say what? Exactly. So I'm just throwing that out there because, like, I met this guy randomly after putting out to the universe that yet again I needed this angel investor. And what I did, I'm telling you, what made a difference for me to make these people just show up like that. There we go. Hello, welcome to Awakenware. Who do we have on the line?
This is Beth.
Hi, Beth. Thanks for joining us. Right on. I was wondering if somebody was going to call in. So first off, I want to thank you for calling us. You're going to get one of these super cool Awakenware Matrix t-shirts. Make sure after the show that you send your information in the messenger app, and make sure you list what size this is, or what size you would like. This is a unisex shirt. It's a next level shirt, and it is it's organic, and so it does run true to size. So thanks for joining us. Where are you calling from, Beth?
Well, you know me.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
From the same place you know Damian. Mm-hmm. But I'm calling from Mantua.
Oh, Mantua, New Jersey. So we got people from all over the country joining the show. So Beth is in Mantua, New Jersey. Absolutely. We are all friends. Super glad. I think this is the first time you've been able to partake in the Awakenware show, huh?
Yeah, just heard about it today.
Nice. I'm so glad that you joined us. Like, that's perfect. Like, totally perfect. Did you get anything from the show, or any gems?
I could relate a lot. Absolutely. I had some struggles in this area myself, and been doing some inner work for years and years. And once I stopped looking for friendships and romantic relationships, I started finding healthier friendships and even a healthy romantic relationship.
Nice. Very nice. So
really believe in the law of attraction stuff, and think that works best when you work on yourself first, and then put that out in the universe. So I just like this message.
Nice.
And grateful I could connect on and hear my friend Damian chatting it up. And you guys are great.
Awesome. Thanks. I remember meeting Beth last year at a spiritual book study. So, and I remember like she just had an energy, and she had some information, and I was pleased to meet her. So I don't know Beth that well, but I know we have a bunch of mutual friends, and mutual community. So I'm super glad that you could join us in the Awakenware community and be part of it. I hope if you haven't gotten an invite to the Awakenware group community, you'll get one shortly, because I know I just sent you an invite earlier today to the Awakenware page. So if that's where you found us at, great. And I hope that you stay and take part in the community and share with us.
All right. Thanks so much for your message.
Yeah. Thank
right
you.
on, Damian. Way to go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in too. Hey, just so.
All right, thanks, Nick. Yeah.
Just so you know, this is interactive. Like, you know, like we're doing this. We're hoping that people are gonna start, you know, like filling in some of the space here, so it's not just us rattling off and all, or him. But yeah, just, you know, there's some comments, but like this is like, as he had explained it to me,
this is live.
This is a we thing.
Absolutely.
You know,
this is a live dialogue.
Right. So we're creating like this space that expands the more people interact with it. And like the idea is to take this from this space and bring it with us, and then come back to this space and report, and it's bigger, and then it's bigger, and then there's a consciousness that is growing that has actual power to change things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds wonderful.
Great.
Sounds like we can all share and you know, give some insight and some good stories, and how some things went wrong too. So
for sure. So actually, there's in the works, coming early next year, is the Awakenware Magazine, which is a digital and in print magazine, where we'll be inviting people to tell their awakening story, as well as to be able to promote themselves and their processes, their businesses, and tell their stories. And I'll be tapping people, and we'll be writing editorials on some of these really successful people and sharing their stories in the magazine. So that means if you guys have a story to tell, a spiritual story, an awakening story, or I have some really cool processes that are helping you in your life or your business or your relationships, you know, and you're interested in writing 500 words or 1,500 words, reach out to me. Let us know, either in the comments or in the Messenger app. It will get one of the moderators. And we are really accepting people. I'm also looking for bloggers, people that are interested in blogging in the conscious space community. And the beauty is, things that you write in the blog will be taken and put in articles in the magazine. So, and this is a digital and an imprint magazine that will be shipped all over the world. So you can see, you know, you can be published in the Awakenware arena conscious. So that is something cool to share as well. I'm looking for a new guest host to come in as well. So this is definitely a community, as well as the community group page on Facebook, which is just called Awakenware. You can find it if you search it out, or I can send you an invite when it comes available. So I look forward to linking up with all you people that have found us from different platforms, that are whether you know us in person, have found us through social media, or other platforms like Clubhouse or Meetup or Twitter or Instagram, IG. We're out there, and we're starting to permeate into a bunch of different spaces, and people are finding us through YouTube too.
Well, thank you very much for taking my call, and I love this show.
Thank you very much for your time, Beth. I appreciate you calling in. Don't forget to message us your size and where we can send your shirt to.
Awesome. You have a blessed night.
Thanks a lot. You too, Beth.
Right, good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Awesome. I'm glad somebody called in to get this shirt. Like I couldn't give this thing away. Really? Y'all don't even know how much this shirt costs. It ain't cheap. So you guys, I don't know. There might have been a bunch of people trying to fight on the line to get one of these, or even to call in and talk to, you know, these two sexy brothers. You know, I told you we're single. You know, it's all right. But I'm holding space. So, it doesn't matter. I'm holding space for me, and I'm working on myself, and I'm working on my business at the moment. And I'm truly trying to seek out what it is that I'm best at doing and can be the best for other people. Like, How can I give the most value to the most people in the least amount of time for the least amount of money? I'm still trying to solve that problem for people, and that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm holding space for. If you guys didn't hear him say it for you one more time, I know I talk fast sometimes, is how can I give the most amount of value to the most amount of people in the least amount of time for the least amount of money? If you can solve that, I promise you can be a billionaire, not just a millionaire. Billionaires solve that problem. You gonna solve that problem, Damien?
Maybe.
I'm gonna need you to solve that by tomorrow.
It just might be me. I don't know.
There's plenty of people who solve. I mean, like all those people making money right now, while the rest of us are trying to scrape it together. Yeah, they solve that problem. So that's what we're trying to do. But let's do it in a holistic way, not purely for pure profit paradigm.
Listen, I only want the money so I can have more experiences. That's it. I don't really just want a pile of money.
I only want the money so I don't need the money.
So I don't need the money.
Exactly.
So I can do more.
Yeah, wealthy people don't spend money. They spend other. You know how many wealthy people I have seen say, I forgot my wallet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And people are, it's just fine. It's fine.
We got
Come
you.
on in.
Of course, we know you got money.
We just want to tell people that you were here, so you don't even have to spend your money.
Most of the time, the wealthiest people I know live the most. Actually, all the wealthiest people I know live the most frugal lives.
Yeah.
And they are not flash. It's not, when I say not flashy, I mean they're not driving Lamborghinis and living on the Riviera. But they have nice things. They have the best of things is really what it comes down to. But they're simple things.
I saw a Ferrari here in Sicklerville. It was so out of place. And I'm like, okay, so let's say you can afford to get a Ferrari in Sicklerville. Like, it just was so out of place.
Yeah, I've seen a few Maseratis floating around here. I'm not a fan of the car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too expensive for what it is. Like, it's just not a... Anyhow, I just think they're way overpriced.
Yeah.
And the maintenance on them is insane. I know we didn't just turn this into a luxury car show.
No. But,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
When I saw that, like, first thing I thought was, that's new money.
Well, but here's the thing is I actually know people in the space that rent luxury cars, make a living from it, and help people not pay that price. So, like, you can just go lease one for a couple days.
We got to talk about that.
Exactly. So that's a thing. That's a business model that I know people are making money off of. And if you jump on this app, man, I'll link you up with people who are doing exactly that and making money of it. Like there's people in the local area over in Philly that will lease you a Bentley for 3 days for $3,000. You can do whatever you want and put as much miles on it as you want.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So you don't have to go broke.
That's nice.
It is. I mean, it is what. I mean, who's going to even rent a Bentley?
I'm not.
What is? I mean, but if you want it for a video shoot, I guess. No Bentleys in your video shoot.
No.
All right, guys. So I think we're going to wrap up the show here. I think we've made our points. I think we've connected with everybody. If you guys have any questions before we jump off, let us know in the inbox. I just want to let you know where you guys can find us on Instagram. We're Awakenware Inc. On YouTube, we don't quite have the link. So here's a plea. If you find us on YouTube, if you search Awakenware and Nick Angel, we'll pull up. We don't have enough subscribers to have our channel content yet. I only started the YouTube channel 2 weeks ago. And I do this show once a week. So there's not a lot. It's only one show showing up every week. But if you show up on YouTube, please click the subscribe button. Once we get 100 subscribers, then we get the Awakenware tag to take over which is very beneficial. It's just a step that we got to get through. It's very beneficial for us to be found on other platforms and also so I can promote this link. Otherwise, I have to promote a link see, my hands don't even show how big it is. It's huge. It's long, and I can't get I couldn't even tell it to you in the thing because it's a bunch of numbers and dashes and stuff like that. So help us by subscribing. Search Awakenware, or you can find the link in the show description below. It will be up on YouTube. You can watch some of the past shows, but within like 45 minutes to an hour to be live on YouTube. If you want to watch it again or see anything that you might have missed if you came into the show late or something like that, or had to leave early. I really want to thank Damian for joining me brother, for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge, yourself, your humor, and our chemistry, man. Like I was sitting here thinking, I was like, man, I could do this again. Like I'd really like inviting you onto the show again. I think, you know, like we live in proximity to each other. We have a lot of friends in the same space. Like me and this, we've been making it a regular thing where him and I go out and eat, and we kind of vibe